Northern California, late 1960s. The streets of San Francisco were alive with the spirit of change. The air was thick with the promise of a new era, a period of change and unrest. Civil rights protests and anti-war demonstrations filled the streets as people fought for justice and peace. Yet amidst this wave of social upheaval, a new kind of fear gripped the San Francisco Bay Area, a fear that was far more sinister and personal. A shadow lurked in the night, preying on young couples. The darkness became a breeding ground for terror as the innocent became targets. He became known as the Zodiac Killer. His name would soon be etched into the annals of criminal history. His name alone sent shivers down the spines of citizens. His methods were brutal, leaving behind a trail of blood and fear. His motives shrouded in mystery. The police were baffled, and the public was terrified. Each new letter he sent to the newspapers only deepened the enigma. The Zodiac Killer wasn't just a murderer, he was a phantom, a ghost story come to life. His presence was felt in every shadow, every dark corner of the city. The fear he instilled was palpable, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that walk among us. December 20th, 1968. A date that would forever be etched in the annals of true crime history. On this cold winter night, a secluded lover's lane in Benicia, California, became the scene of a horrific crime that would haunt the community for years to come.
David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, were on their first date, a night filled with the promise of young love and new beginnings. Tragically, their young lives were cut short by a series of gunshots, shattering the innocence of their youth and leaving a community in mourning. David was found dead at the scene. His life abruptly ended in a moment of senseless violence. Betty Lou's body was discovered a short distance away, her dreams and future stolen in an instant. The brutality of the attack sent shockwaves through the community, leaving residents grappling with fear and disbelief. This double homicide was not just a tragic event. It marked the beginning of the Zodiac's reign of terror, a series of brutal murders that would leave an indelible mark on the history of American crime.
The Zodiac Killer wasn't content with just murder, he craved notoriety. He wanted the world to know his name, to fear him, and to never forget the terror he brought. His crimes were not just acts of violence, they were statements, declarations of his twisted genius. He wanted to be remembered, feared. His desire for infamy drove him to taunt the public and the police, ensuring his legacy would be one of dread and mystery.
He began sending letters to local newspapers, boasting about his crimes. These letters were chilling. They were not just confessions, but a way to play a game with the authorities, a game where he held all the cards. They were filled with cryptic messages, bizarre symbols, and chilling threats. Each letter was a puzzle, a challenge to decode his twisted mind. The cryptic nature of his messages added another layer of fear as people tried to understand his motives and predict his next move. He even included pieces of his victims' clothing as proof. This gruesome evidence was his way of proving his authenticity, showing that he was not just a phantom but a real and present danger. The Zodiac seemed to revel in the terror he inflicted. He enjoyed the fear he created, the chaos he sowed. His letters were not just communications, but instruments of psychological warfare.
The Zodiac Killer wasn't just a murderer. He was a phantom, a shadow that loomed over the city. His presence was felt even when he was not there, a constant reminder of the evil that lurked in the darkness. A ghost story come to life. He was the embodiment of fear, a real-life boogeyman who turned the streets into his hunting ground. His legend grew with each letter, each murder, cementing his place in the annals of true crime history.
The mystery endures a chilling legacy. Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the Zodiac Killer was never caught. The case went cold, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. Who was this shadowy figure? What drove him to commit such heinous acts? Why did he stop killing? The lack of answers only fueled speculation and fear. The Zodiac Killer became a ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones. The elusive phantom, a game of cat and mouse. The Zodiac case became a complex puzzle.
Investigators were baffled by the cryptic clues left behind. The killer's ciphers, filled with strange symbols and codes, taunted them. Some were solved, offering glimpses into the killer's mind. Others remain unsolved to this day, their secrets locked away.
The Zodiac seemed to be playing a deadly game, challenging authorities at every turn. Zodiac's shadow, a haunting reminder. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror may have ended, but his shadow still looms large. His story serves as a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. The unsolved nature of the case continues to fascinate and horrify. The Zodiac Killer became a symbol of evil, his name forever etched in the annals of crime.